Roger Ryan back on the Worship Keys podcast. How you doing, sir?
I'm fine, sir. Carson, you better stop this sir thing. Hi, Carson. I'm glad to be here and I'm good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Roger Ryan, Mr. Roger Ryan, 8-time Grammy-nominated, Dove Award, Juno Award winner, producer. Really excited to have you. Very honored, actually, to have you.
It's my honor. Thank you.
If you guys are not familiar with Roger Ryan, you guys can check out episode number 6. Number 6. He was on the 6th episode here at the Worship Keys. Now we have over 30 episodes, so
That's awesome.
Roger, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
At age 5, he just started playing. He heard some music and just started playing on the piano. A lot of great training, too, over the years and into college days. And he has a lot of years with amazing artists such as Whitney Houston, Cece Winans, Kirk Franklin, Kirk Whalum, Point of Grace, Take 6. The list goes on and on. Leah Faith, of course. I love Leah Faith. The reason why.
Do not forget Leah Faith. Without Leah, I wouldn't know you, sir.
I know. That's very, very true. Just the list goes on of people that he's worked with. He's been music director for many artists. He's produced for many artists and been on the road with many artists over the decades. But if you want to hear some cool stories, definitely check out episode number 6. But today's episode is all about reharmonizing and rearranging Christmas music. It's a little early for Christmas, but it will be here before we know it. Merry Christmas to you, Roger.
Merry Christmas to you, Carson.
Yeah. And so Roger Ryan has done multiple previous Christmas projects over the years. And one project I believe you put out in 2012, A Time for Hope. Mm-hmm. And then you redistributed it with even more songs in 2019.
Yes.
So we're celebrating really 5 years of that coming out. So there's a whole album called A Time for Hope by Roger Ryan and Friends, because pretty much almost every song, right, is featuring another artist.
Yes, yeah.
Right, like Leah Faith, Benita Washington.
Yeah, Benita
others.
Washington. Yeah, there are a number of artists. The concept was, well, at the time there was a huge tragedy happening in Haiti, and I felt completely helpless. So I decided to do a project and raise money for kids in Haiti, because I'm not a doctor anymore, so I couldn't go and do the medical health, emergency stuff. And so I asked my friends to be a part of it, and they flew in or drove in or came in. And most of the arrangements, I sat with the artists and actually came up with the arrangement with them on the spot.
Oh, wow.
Based on their voice, and then worked on it, and then they came back and did their final recordings. But that was pretty much how the record was done conceptually.
That's incredible.
By just sitting with the artists and singing an idea with them, with the song that I had in mind for them.
That's awesome.
It was pretty fun.
Super, super cool.
It's a lot of work.
So you're a full-time producer. You have been for decades. And Christmas music is something that comes around every year. So it's hard to keep it fresh, but everyone gets so excited around Thanksgiving or even before then. You're putting on Christmas music. And by December, it's full send into Christmas. And part of the problem, and I say problem, is keeping the Christmas music fresh, because we've heard it the same thing.
Sure.
How did you combat overcoming what you've always heard and done into your own originality? How does that, when you approach a song, and here in just a little bit, we're gonna get you at the keyboard and you're gonna talk about reharmonization and rearranging on a practical sense, but tell us your approach as a producer for many years now. How do you keep it fresh, especially in the Christmas season?
Well, Christmas music is very familiar. So not just the melodies, but the words. So sometimes you can approach from changing the entire melody and keeping the words. Or you can space it, keep the melody, but space it and syncopate it. You can augment parts of a melody of a song, and then change the harmony on the choruses, but keep the words or keep the melody. So there are different ways to do it. I think part of it is I'm just rebellious. And so I like changing things to bring something a little different. And it doesn't have to be completely all the way out there, or it can be all the way out there. You can actually write an entire different song by taking words of a song, for example, which we'll probably share some of Little Town of Bethlehem, which when I was a kid in Brooklyn, I heard a different arrangement of it, and I was intrigued. I was, 9, 10, somewhere around there. And I heard this arrangement of O Little Town of Bethlehem, and it was in 6/8, and it was a totally different melody. Oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And so when I did this particular arrangement, I did with one of my dear friends, Denise Small. She lives in Mobile. And when she came in, I was like, okay, we're going to do this song. And I completely changed the melody altogether on it because I thought it would bring something different and bring a different element to her voice as well. So, yeah, it's and then some of the others, Away in a Manger, I changed the melody as well and wrote a bridge to it. That was one that I was fortunate, honored to actually write for Cece. For her Christmas project, we actually did 2 songs. I had 3. We recorded 2 out of the 3, and then the other song, Sleep Little Baby Sleep, is on this project. It's a duet. I made it into a duet. So awesome. It just depends. It depends on what you feel like cooking and what kind of spices do you have, and and each person brings a different voice, different personality, different moment. And when you know their voices, which working with them or playing for them over the years, then you go after those moments and go after their voices, and
that's good.
It's fun.
That's great. What advice can you give to maybe someone at a church who's a music director? It's a few weeks away from Christmas. Maybe they want to do something really cool on a Christmas Eve service, or not just cool as in flashy, but just something beautiful and meaningful to their church congregation that they just haven't done in previous years. What is your best advice to that music director or pianist who wants something a little fresh this Christmas season within their Christmas services?
Well, of course, it depends on their level of musicianship, what they're capable of playing, what do they actually hear with their ears. That's important. And then it's on. Maybe take one of your favorite songs and start singing the melody, but play minor chords under it just to see what happens. Yeah. Like take the first Noel and do it the same way it traditionally is, and then the second verse, go to the relative minor. So like if it's an F or if it's in C or B flat, then go to G minor and just play G minor all the way through as long as you can, and then see if it goes back to E flat and then back to F and then G. Like just try stuff. Cool. And if it works, then turn it into something, If not, the traditional ones work. It could also be taking the same exact stuff and changing the harmony around it. So instead of just regular 3-part harmony, maybe some chord extensions and maybe some counterpoint that could work on, Noel, da 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 da, da da da. There's all kinds of ways to do it. Just have fun more than anything.
That's good. That's good, man. I like that. So we're about to get to the keyboard and let you just teach us the ways of reharmonization and rearranging.
Well, some ideas I can't teach you all because I'm still learning myself.
Oh, whatever. so good. But I want to hear, before we do this, tell us the why behind it, the purpose. Why do you reharm and rearrange the way that you do? Why should churches, why should others even bother to not just copy the original? Why should we even bother to reharmonize and rearrange to begin with?
Well, why not have the pastor preach the same sermon every week? Exactly the same.
Good point.
Okay. Why not use all the colors that music is to celebrate the birth of Christ?
Yeah.
If that's the thing, that's what Christmas is supposed to be about, right? So I like using colors because colors make things look prettier and brighter. Air candy is a beautiful thing, just like color candy. People don't wear the same exact shoes and clothes every week when you see them. They wear different things. Why not do that with music, which is one of the best places to be creative, best entities. I just think from a creative standpoint, since we are created to create, that being creators ourselves, why not use all of the notes on the piano and or harmonic spectrum, if you will, and find ways to do tasteful, cool arrangements with songs that have been sung the same way all the time every year. Awesome. Why not do something different?
That's great, man. I love that. For your Christmas project, A Time for Hope, tell me some of your favorite songs. I know we're going to get down to the theory of them, but what are some of your most favorite songs from that project and why?
I like them all. First of all,
Yeah.
Roberto, he is or has been. I guess he still is at Bethel. I heard him sing at a worship service, and I asked him to come be on the record. We just did like an interlude, and I just took "O Come Emmanuel" and did something with him right here in the room, and I loved what that turned into. It's just a piano thing, and just hearing his voice and what he did with it was really beautiful. A Little Town of Bethlehem is special. Denise is a special talent, very warm, rich, warm tone in her voice. One that definitely highlights for me is my cousin Jason Ryan. He's gone now; he's not with us. And on his way to Italy for I think he was doing some opera thing there. He flew in, and I sat with him and did this arrangement of We Three Kings, and actually did a full final vocal with him, which he always wanted to redo. And after I sat and did it with him with just piano, I orchestrated it and then mixed it and sent it to him. He was like, ah. So that's very special because obviously I don't always get to work with my family members on music. So that was really cool. Angela Brown, who is, a Met Op star, and I went to school with her. She's an incredible singer. She has a thing called Sister's Point of View, opera from a sister's point of view, and she's doing a number of things. I think she has a new educational thing that she's doing now. She's, Grammy-nominated and just incredible. I think she's a Grammy winner. We did a Christmas record, actually, but what spawned the Christmas record was her being on my Christmas project. And she was in town to sing at the Schermerhorn. Wow. And I did an arrangement with her with just piano of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen and cut all the vocals. She was like, okay, I'm in town. I got this afternoon off. I'm coming over. And so we did it. And next thing you know, we did a project all together, Christmas project, which is amazing, called awesome. This Christmas. Noel is beautiful. I had that arrangement bouncing around my head forever, and then finally got to do it. And San Franklin did it. And, if anybody here in Nashville knows San and knows anything about her, she sang with the Hawkins, out in California and then moved here. She's an incredible singer and fun to produce a vocalist like her. She's been on a number of records that I've produced, and she came in and did this song. And some other singers did the backgrounds. Joey Kibble came in and sang the vocals and really made the song. It's about the arrangement and the artist. Christina has a song called Born to Save the Day. Christina Wren is her name. She came in and taught me the song, and I played it right then and recorded it. That's how beautiful it was. I didn't go back and rearrange it or anything. It was just piano and vocal, and I loved what we came up with. Debbie Dixon, the same thing. Benita Washington, Silent Night. My partner in crime, Virgil Stratford, and I worked on that together, and that was fun. Mary Did You Know, Change That. So just, I really like all of them. Yeah, they're all have different energy, different moments, and they were fun to do. So I don't know. Those are some of my favorites that stick out now, but I'm pretty sure there are more. Sleep Little Baby, Sleep is a Bomb. I love the way it turned out. Sometimes these things happen in the room with the people, the chemistry, the moments, and then boom, you have something happening. And that's pretty much kind of what happened. It wasn't like, okay, here are the charts, let's do this. Even Leah's song, What Are the Chances, which I love, she kind of said, here, this is an idea, and we did it. My dream actually is to actually produce this live, to do a live concert, like a weekend, like 2 nights at the Schermerhorn.
You should, yeah.
And do the entire project, and then invite some guest artists like maybe Take 6 or like Mark or Joey or both.
Yeah.
Winona, who is in town here, people that I've actually played for, Cece, of course, people like that. So that's been brewing around. So for some actually, for some of actually mentioning it, but yeah, I've thought about actually doing a live situation with and having a choir to supplement certain songs and just really turning it into something fun.
That's awesome.
And a little different, a little twist on traditional Christmas arrangements, and maybe have a couple of readings, not a whole lot, but enough. And then definitely music that will hopefully go in here and inspire and touch people. And
yes.
And because that's really what it's about, connecting people, connecting with people. And,
yes.
We get to do that with music.
Right.
And which is so important. wish I had time to read you something from one of my friends. Her name is Judy Rodman. She's a vocal coach here in town, incredible vocal coach. She's been doing it for a long time. She had an accident and fell, hurt her back, and, broken arm and some other things. And I got wind to it while I was out of town, sent her voice message. She didn't get it. So I called her and spoke with her just recently. And then I sent her a suite that I wrote called Healing and Recovery, just piano stuff. And if I read what she wrote about it, I think that epitomizes why I do what I do. And at the end of my text back to her, I said, this is the gig.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
About touching people, not always on a stage somewhere or in a studio, but reaching out to people when they're in a dark place, dark moment. And dark doesn't just mean mentally.
Right.
It becomes mental when you're not able to do the things that you're usually doing. And her being on her back and listening to music and it bringing her peace and falling asleep, waking up and all this stuff. One of the references she said is when she listened to one of the songs, she said she could actually hear God saying, I've got you. That's, I don't get it, but it's awesome. You know what I mean?
The gift of music, man.
Yeah, it's a thing. So
That's very cool. And I love that you're talking about music touching you and impacting you, and you have your label, After Touch Music, or is it?
yeah.
That, okay, I'm making sure that's correct.
Yeah, that's why the
that's really
record
cool.
is now 5 years, so to speak. We actually reinserted it when I got this deal with The Orchard, which is with Sony.
Yeah.
I took all of my catalogs and reinserted them through their platform. So we redid the cover and added some songs. There's a song with Nikki Conley called 100 Christmas Kisses, which is a really cool song. It's kind of retro-y. We loved that and added that to the project.
That's
and
awesome.
so hence this is the fifth year of that particular release and retooling or refueling it.
So you are a professor as of been about 4 years now. Roger teaches at Berklee
Teaches but tries.
Abu Dhabi. Can you tell us about your, in a short way, your teaching journey at Berklee School of Music through Abu Dhabi, what you do there, and how this past semester went for you?
I guess I'll tell you about the program. It's called the Pearl Program, Performance Artist Leadership. The creative director there, Mesa Cara, who is an incredibly gifted and talented singer, a Grammy-nominated artist herself. There's so much I can say about Mesa. Mesa actually was one of the singers on the World Expo. The World Expo happened in Dubai. Most of us here don't pay attention to things that happen, unless it happened here, but that's another conversation. And so the World Expo happened there, and when I landed there the first year, all this promo is happening on television, and I'm looking, and it's Mesa singing the lead. It was amazing. She was one of the lead singers. So she's a creative director at the Berklee Center in Abu Dhabi, and I think the concept of the Pearl program is hers, actually. And so it's an artist development program. It's 12 weeks of intense artist development, not just your songs, but strategy, marketing, production, publishing, which is so important, like all the important elements. And of course, they get to do 2 songs. They're fully produced and a video at the end of it. And they keep all the masters and get to use them for their careers or whatever they want to do with it.
That's cool.
And it's done with, like producers and really, really well produced. I'm the first leg of the program, so I deal with the songwriting and pre-arranging, pre-production-esque kind of a thing, and I do master classes on starting from scratch, where we write a song, which for the last 2 years, those songs have been performed at the new Creative Educator Symposium. It's 2 years old now. So 2 years in a row, my classes, or the group that we've done, we've been able to perform the songs that we wrote together,
Cool.
which is really fun and cool.
Yeah.
Instructors come from everywhere. Some of the instructors come from Berklee, and then teachers in the UAE, in that region, from everywhere come and hang out for 2 days. And, we have master classes. Some of the instructors from Valencia, which is where the other Berklee campus is, one of them, and such. And then, of course, from Boston. So it's very cool.
Incredible.
So, yeah, I've been doing that for just about 4 years. We just completed Pearl 7. It was intense because we had 6 artists, young artists, or artist hopeful students, so to speak, and 2 songs each. That's 12 songs. That's 2 records.
Yeah.
Or a really long record. And
Right.
so it was fun. But it's not just music, it's mentoring, and it's allowed me to integrate and meet more people in that region and get to work with other artists and do appearances. Most recently, I did the NBA games in Abu Dhabi,
Nice.
played for a young lady, Eden, and then one Friday and then Sunday of that weekend, I played and actually sang the national anthem, which was kind of cool and crazy. I can't make any of that up. You know, born in Trinidad, living in the States, singing the national anthem at an NBA game in Abu Dhabi. Go figure.
Incredible. International, man.
Yeah, international, man.
International. So cool. We're going to take a moment just to let you teach us here at the piano some reharmonization. But for everyone listening, guys, thank y'all for tuning in and listening. If you're on podcast, maybe you're on a run or a walk or you're doing some dishes, you might want to find the time to kind of sit down, watch this on YouTube, what's about to happen, if you really want to learn and grow, and maybe get out a piano, get out a keyboard somewhere. You can kind of see what it's doing, slow it down a little bit, go back. He might be going fast over some concepts.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
Take my time. It's all about approach. I think we are probably leaning towards a little arranging, reharm situation where it'll be a little more consistent.
A lot of R's, by the way, in this episode. A lot of
Are
alliteration.
there?
Are there?
See what I did there?
Reharmonization,
That was cheesy, but-
rearranging, Roger, Ryan. But we're in your studio here in Nashville, by the way. So if you're watching on YouTube, beautiful studio. There's more to it, of course. You have your tracking room as well, your vocal booth, some very high quality microphones. But anyway, we're going to turn this camera around and we're just going to let you get to it, man.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all nations rise, joy in the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem, born in Bethlehem. So that's an arrangement that I did for a group early in my career. And it was really fun to work with them and fun to work on this arrangement. Anyway, so it just came to me when I started. So again, you know, I took the words of that song and just changed the melody altogether. And that song actually goes on a nice journey. It modulates, two singers sing it. And then I have a choir that comes in at the end of it. It's pretty cool, pretty fun. As far as the Christmas project, I'm going to highlight a couple of songs. I think the first approach is, first of all, knowing who you're going to be working with, knowing their voice, understanding their range, and then it's on as far as what are you hearing in your head, what kind of vocabulary do you have. So the first thing I'm going to show is reharm, where I'm taking the exact melody, the actual lyrics of the song, and I'm changing it completely and then writing a chorus. So here's a little town of Bethlehem. It's, you know, how still we see thee lie, you know, that kind of thing. The silent stars go by. The everlasting light, the house of all the years are met in thee tonight. That's not there. Are met in thee tonight. All right, so that's somewhat of a traditional, you know, where the melody is exactly the same with a little bit of an ad-lib. I decided to go in minors, and I did this with Denise Small, and so her voice is so sultry and beautiful, so this is what I did. Oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Above thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Yet in thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. Oh, Bethlehem, oh, Bethlehem, oh, Bethlehem, where the stars shine bright. Oh, Bethlehem, oh, Bethlehem, oh, Bethlehem, follow the light. Right, so complete reharm. I changed the entire melody of the song and wrote a chorus to it. It just felt right. And if you go and you listen to Denise doing it, she sings way better than I am singing out of my range. But that's the idea. And then, there's a bridge. Come, let us adore him. All that stuff happens in there. And of course, I got background vocalists and such. So it was a thing, and really beautiful, turned out beautiful. Another song that I enjoyed on the project, actually this song I actually wrote for Cece on her Christmas project. It's called Away in a Manger. And of course, away in a manger, no crib for a bed, the little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. The stars in the bright sky looked down where he lay, the little Lord Jesus asleep on the sleep on the hay. Anyway, so that's the traditional, but thinking about her voice, how she sings, and having been her music director for, a number of years, knowing what kind of musical moments actually grab her and turns her on, makes her sing a certain way, and the moment that she creates with it, the energy and the smile of Cece as well. All of those things actually play into working on something like this. So I started just walking down. And the verses, away in a manger, no crib for a bed, the little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. The stars in the bright sky looked down where he lay, little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay. Chorus. And I welcome you in my heart. I pray that we would never part. This love you gave me is shining for the whole world to see. Shining, yeah, for the whole world to see. Right? And that's just basically, reharmonizing, changing the melody again, and writing a chorus. And, there's a bridge. In a world where darkness is that kind of thing. So from wherever you are, your level, then you start creating things around what you're actually starting. And then add different pieces to it, and that's what I did. Needed a bridge, and I used all the verses and kept them the same thing, so it still felt like a pop song, pop gospel song. That sort of thing. And of course with her, there's an energy thing that happens later on in the song, and all of that stuff is, conducive to her style, how Cece brings a song. So you go after that in her voice, and of course the key and the nuances. So it was fun doing that. On this particular project, Wendy Moten actually did the version that I did, and boy, did she smoke it. Wendy Moten is one of the finalists on The Voice, but she's been my friend for, easily 20 years. Just an incredible gift, an incredible singer. And it was so fun working with her, and putting this arrangement together. Let's see. There's another one that I like on this project. I like them all, by the way. This one is very special. This is my cousin, Jason Ryan. He's no longer with us. And he was on his way to Italy to work on an opera, and came to the studio, and I sat down with him and started working on We Three Kings. And it was just really special. So I'll just play a little bit of that and show you what I did with that. So I used some of the melody, and then I augmented the melody. I spaced it out so I could have space to do the creative things I wanted to do in between where the melody was happening. Space is a wonderful part of music. Sometimes we forget that space is your friend, and space gives you space to do things with the space or not with the space. In fact, I have a quote that I've written, and it says, when you're arranging, make room for space. So we three kings of Orient are that kind of stuff, and then bearing gifts, we travel afar. Right, so there's space, and then field and fountain, moor and mountain, space. I just repeated what he sang, and then following yonder star. Now the chorus. Oh, wait a minute, I was supposed to show you the original. So, we three kings of Orient are, bearing that we travel afar, field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. And then, oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Really actually beautiful melody, and you can reharm that. So I just did some of it. Instead of actually playing the one, I played like a C7 or like a C11. Star of wonder, star of night, and then back. Star with a royal beauty bright, down. Westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. And you can repeat it. Guide us to thy perfect light. And modulate. Right, so, all right, now I'll go back to my arrangement. So I did We Three Kings of Orient are, bearing gifts, we travel afar. So I'm walking down off of M and D minor. So that's really like C, D over C. Don't ask me why. And then this B flat is really not B flat. It's really G minor. So, but I'm playing B flat in the bass. And then field and fountain, moor and mountain. And then I'm repeating. Following yonder star. Right, and then the oh. Star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Thy perfect light. Right, so now I've taken that whole chorus and changed the entire thing into something different. So the O is leading, but then misleading. And then I'm doing this. So now the strings, now it's making space for the arrangement, right? And so I go back and do the same exact thing. And then, of course, I did a bridge and such and such. I just used I used the words in the chorus to do the bridge. I can't remember. Na 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 da 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 da. King and God and sacrifice. That kind of thing. So I made it big, and then back down. And just back into the chorus. So it's always fun to do arrangements like that, where you take even the same thing and then just space it out. But I love changing melodies. That's a thing. But again, circle of fifths, scale control, those are some of the main ingredients in reharm. For example, let's do sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, slow is glistening. This is the regular way. Beautiful sight, we're happy tonight. Walking in the winter wonderland, or walking in the winter wonderland. So that's 2, 5, 1. Now, how about this? Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, slow is glistening. And now watch this. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight. Walking in the winter wonderland. So I just did the 5 of the 5 of the 5 of the 5. The 5 of B. 5 of A, the 5 of G, which is D, right? And it sounds like I did something really big, but all I did was use the circle of fifths. This all depends on your vocabulary, what you're listening to, how you're listening, and then how to apply these things against melodies. What if we took a Christmas song, another Christmas song? Let's see. You know what? I'm just going to take... I'm going to take We Three Kings and try to do it a little differently. So. This is crazy. We three kings of Orient are bearing gifts. We travel afar, field and mountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star, following yonder star. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star of royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding. Oh, guide us through thy perfect light, guide us to thy perfect light. All right, so some of it was really, really bad. But some of it, actually, there's some moments. Just imagine that with acoustic guitar, and it's something completely different, depending on what kind of Christmas program you're having and the age group. Taking that backdrop with an acoustic guitar and doing whatever it is I did, Now you have something to build on, and then can be a section in there where you go back to the original and then go back to this. There's always the original. There's always the original blueprint. So it could be really fun doing things like that. There are other songs on the project that would probably take a little more in depth to show you. Sweet Little Jesus Boy, I kept it the same, but I just made it jazzy. I slowed it down, cut it with live drums and bass, and and Terrell's just such a great singer. So that would be something you just got to go listen to it. I did an instrumental piece called Love at Christmas, which is, just instrumental, which I really loved. It kind of, I think it was snowing when I was working on it. And my production partner, Michael, put up this groove for me. And I sat there and I actually played it all the way down. And I don't know if I've actually ever gone back and actually changed anything except the music around it, because it was just so inspired. And it was snowing at the time and out the window there, and so came up with that. Well, like I said, this whole project was really about people, about the kids in Haiti at the time, and about the tragedy happening there. But it's also about friends and friendships, because all of the people on this project are friends of mine, associates or friends, and they came in and flew in from wherever and came in and were part of this project. And it spawned another project, Angela Brown's project, which is called This Christmas, which is really fun. And we did some crazy stuff on that record, but it's really great. So whatever it is you're thinking about approaching songs, think about melody, think about the different choices of chords that you can play under that melody, continuity, so that there's a pattern even though you're changing it. For example, what I did with Away in a Manger. Away in a Manger. That's so familiar. You know, and then the chorus. So it's all pattern driven, like if I was doing a pop song, you know, and that way you still grab the attention of the listener. And then scale control, you know. You know, and Little Town of Bethlehem, same thing. It's in minors. I guess I'm doing a review. So I'm looking at the words and using that with the syncopation or the phrasing. So that's why, you know, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie, above thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by, right? So I'm using, and then I'm, you know, just going after the melody. I just came up with this, I guess. But, you know, I was teaching it to Denise and singing parts back and forth to her. And then the chorus, oh, Bethlehem, oh, Bethlehem. So, you know, choices. I'm making choices based on melody. There's also an element of feeling. It's a moment, you know, it's a somber moment, because this whole Christmas story is about someone who's actually born to die. So here it is, it's in minors. And so there's that interesting, I don't know if the word is dichotomy, where you're looking at someone born to die. And so that's why minors, I think, was the thing. And plus, I just like minors. And I like the way Denise's voice sounded against it. But I think you just need to listen to them. Just imagine if we were doing this, you know, for a group or a vocal, you know. Would I do it the same way? I might do something a little different if I was doing an a cappella thing with Noel, you know. First Noel. You know, and then angels that say, unison, and then parts, you know, that kind of stuff. Noel, 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 Noel. You know, just thinking about the group that you're writing for. I got a chance to do some stuff for Jeff Pitzer. His wife had a group called Three Blonde Moms. And I would sit and arrange vocal Christmas songs on the spot. 3-part harmony, but it sounded like 5 or 6 people. And it was really fun. And that's something forthcoming. I'm actually re-recording and producing those. And probably, who knows, next year I'll probably release them. I'm going to sing all the parts. And Carson's going to record me singing each part. But I always look for the fun and the message. I think messages, even important messages, can be delivered in such a way that people enjoy them. And I think if they enjoy what they're hearing, they're apt to probably remember it more. So I hope this helps. So thank you for sharing this time with me. And feel free to reach out to me at Producer Roger on Instagram and ask some questions about music, or my email, roger@rogerryan.net.
And also, guys, free ebook as well on the description, so you guys can download that if you're wanting to know more about how to play worship keys by ear. If you're learning an Elevation Bethel song, something in the car, you're listening to it on the radio, I want to be able to play that. How do we do that by ear? Well, knowing your theory, your scales, music theory, following the bass line, building out those chords, literally you could be running late to rehearsal at church. You put on the playlist, and if you can play by ear, Roger, even if you haven't spent all the hours reading the sheet music,
Maybe. Depends on where your ears are, but yeah, it's possible.
it might be possible.
It's a language, it's vocabulary.
And you guys can definitely grow in that. I know I could not really listen to a song and play that until teenage years, at least, just learning the fundamentals and getting into that. I mean, I could play melodies and stuff, but understanding full actually scores of songs by ear, you got to be able to study the part, dissect it, go from the inside out. But guys, thank you again for joining this episode. And Roger, 2025 is going to be a good year. It's going to be here before we know it.
Yes, it is.
And also, what are you looking forward to the most for 2025?
Well, one of the things I'm looking forward to is releasing my first solo instrumental project.
Oh, let's
it's
go.
going to be instrumental and vocal, and Mark Kibble of Take Six and some other folk will be on there. I won't kill the surprise, but I'm very excited about it. It's also I've been recording it in Abu Dhabi as well with some really talented artists there as well. Mesa's actually doing a cameo on one song for me, and Yarab, who's an incredible string arranger. It's going to be a really wonderful and fun project. My production partner, Michael Gaines, who is one of the most brilliant and talented music producers I know that I've gotten to work with for the last 20 years, is also a part of this project. So there's a lot of love on it. My play son, Maestro, who is Melvin Lightford, he goes by Maestro. He also did live string arrangements for me on this project. I think 2 songs or 3 songs. His mom dropped him off to my condo years ago and said, okay, we saw you play at church. We don't know anything about music. Our son wants to be a musician. We'll pick him up in a few hours. And they left him there. And he helped build his studio. He's been my friend all these years.
Amazing.
And he's in LA, living there now, doing arranging and production, and does a lot of community things here. He has a concert coming up soon.
Wow.
He also does stuff for, I think it's F.H. Jenkins with their piano department. He raised money to help them buy pianos for their music department.
That's awesome.
All kinds of really wonderful things. A lot of really wonderful people are on this project, and I'm excited to share it with everybody.
I'm excited for this. I think you might have shared a snippet of something instrumental, kind of jazzy, not too long ago.
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
But that was incredible. Anything you do is always top notch, Roger.
Oh,
so
you're kind.
looking forward. Will there be some saxophones involved?
I don't know. Would there?
I hope so.
I don't know.
I really hope so.
I don't know.
I really want some saxophones.
I don't know.
involved
Would
in
there?
Let us know in the comments if you want to hear some saxophones.
I don't know. Would there?
Probably so. Okay, I know I said I was done. I'm such a liar. I do have one more thing that I'd love for you to share with us before we conclude this episode. But you mentioned, now you've been producing for years and years and years. Many people who are just getting going, they might quit a little before it's time, and before something actually happens in their career. People are disappointed a lot. Sometimes you're waiting tables and you're in the in between. And sometimes in life, that's how it goes with the music industry. And even when you have had success, then you have to work to keep having success. But Roger, I want you to share about when you first moved to Nashville and you moved to an apartment or something.
Late 20s.
Late 20s.
My condo.
Yeah, tell us about your condo, because I think that the visual is important to know, because we're in your beautiful studio now.
Yeah, the condo is.
But tell us about that condo.
The condo is a cocoon. I actually had one room with comforters on the wall. My mother actually put those comforters on there. And then the other room, which is a control room, there was wires everywhere. It was just a sweat box, It's kind of a desk with a computer and the keyboard over here. And it was crazy, but that's where I actually learned to swim, really swim. My first Grammy nomination comes out of that room.
Wow.
My first Juno Award comes out of that room. Cece, Yolanda have both been to that place. Shirley Caesar. I recorded Alvin Slaughter's record in there. Faith Life. We did it live, but all of his overdubs vocally were done in this condo.
Wow.
With my dear friend Paul Mills, who I wouldn't probably be a part of that project if it hadn't been for Paul. A great man, arranger, producer himself, that, Sony BMG.
But to re-emphasize that, it's more about the creativity and the playing
the driver,
execution.
Who's behind the equipment, because, back then, I didn't have the microphones I have now. Or the compressors and mic pre's. However, we did really great work in that room. People came up the stairs and And I didn't have a glass, which also sharpened my ears because I couldn't. It wasn't my condo,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
I couldn't make a glass in the middle of it. So
Right.
it tuned my ears. I can literally hear people thinking now. I always know what's going on in the room, and it really came from that experience for a number of years producing without a glass and not looking, but listening, and it helps. I still use the non-glass
That's
with
good.
the glass now.
That's good. That's good. A few things that I already know the answers to, but what's your go-to keyboard and what's your go-to vocal preamp?
Well, I'm signed to Yamaha, so I'm presently using a Yamaha CP. I had a motif for a number of years, and when I got back from the Middle East earlier this year, it said bye. It died on me.
Oh no.
So I bought this Yamaha CP88. The action's great. I don't use any of the stage sounds because I'm really a studio brat. And so I'm obviously running Keyscape and other software patches through it, plugins as they call them now. But I really like the action, and it feels great.
That's awesome.
Marcus Perry, one of my sons, recommended that. He's the music director at Mount Zion. Really, really talented guy. Oof.
Awesome.
Mic pre, I'm using the Avalon 737, and I also have a Vipre made by GrooveTube, and I love it. And the GrooveTube has rise times on it, so you can make it feel like the traditional mic or, modern. But these tubes make your stuff warm and punchy.
That's
The
awesome.
Avalon is obviously a standard,
Mm-hmm.
so, I run that. I'm also using, as an audio interface, I'm using the Focusrite 8 Red 8 Pre, and I'm also using a Prism, which is out of London. And my friends, some of my engineer friends in London, love this audio interface. They've actually recorded Adele through it, and they were like, "Mate, you've got to get one of these. It sounds stellar." So I got one,
That's
and
awesome.
very happy with it. It changed the sound in my room. I'm using Atom Audio monitors, the A8Hs. I was honored to demo 2 pair of their speakers through GC Pro and through actually Mark Cummings from Atom Audio in Germany. And this summer I actually went to the factory in Berlin.
That's cool.
And I ended up with the A8Hs. They're incredibly, man, they're just warm sounding. It cracked my ears. I was just listening to a mix just a few minutes ago before we started,
Yeah.
and I could hear the acoustic guitars. And I'm listening to Jeff's mixes. Jeff Pitzer is my main engineer, mix engineer, and one of my best friends.
It's amazing.
And 30 years, man.
Crazy.
And I'm like, man, his mixes are underrated. I've been listening listening to the same speakers for so long, but these monitors changed everything. I turned the sub off, don't need the sub anymore.
Wow.
They're the 3-way speakers, and the folk at Berlin still make this stuff by hand,
That's amazing.
which is, I watched them making certain things by hand. They really believe in the quality of their work, for sure, and that's not a commercial. I saw it myself.
So cool. Well, I love your space. I love your studio, but more than that, I love your heart and I love your talent.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you again, man.